Most people don't actually step into a new year. They drag the old one with them. And we have a cultural obsession with this clean slate mentality. We love the idea of January 1st, a new planner. We love the saying, new year, new me, and all that energy. But nobody talks about the weight of you walking into 2026. And many leaders are carrying a backpack full of unresolved decisions from 2025. Unfinished lessons, conversations you were too afraid to have, maybe commitments you should have quit 6 months ago. The calendar changed, but the overall weight didn't. And that's what matters. Because if you lead people, what you carry shows up in ways that you lead. Influence implies multiplication. And if you're confused, you're going to multiply confusion. If you're heavy, you're going to multiply that heaviness to your team, to your family, and to your audience. So, before we rush too much further into 2026 with our goals and our vision boards, I suggest we need to slow down. We need to have a serious conversation about 2025. Now, I want you to think about a pilot. Before a plane takes off for a new destination, they don't just hit the gas. No, them and their team do a walk around. They check the frame, they check the engines, they look for stress fractures. Because if you take a fracture into the altitude, that spells catastrophe. Many leaders try and take off for 2026 without checking their frame. You might be trying to build momentum, but it's on top of dysfunction. And trust me, I know this because I've done it. I've had years where I hit January 1st running 100 miles an hour, only to burn out by March because I was still bleeding from back in December. Yep, I wore my orange jacket, I smiled for the camera, and I posted those wins. But internally and privately, man, I was exhausted. I was on the verge of burnout by March. I was saying yes to things that made me money, but man, they were bankrupting my peace, my time. We're not going to do that this year because this is the school of influence. And here, we're going to do things differently and we're going to learn how to continue to do things differently. We don't just grow fast, we grow clean with integrity and character and values and kingdom principles. So, here's an assignment I want you to do. This isn't about having New Year's resolutions. This is about unresolved input. 2025 didn't just happen to you. It revealed things about you. And my friends, if you don't process that data, you aren't really starting fresh. You're just repeating an open loop. And so I have 3 questions that I ask myself every single year. And if you answer these honestly, it will change the entire trajectory of 2026. So, question number 1, what actually produced fruit? Now, pay attention to this. I didn't ask what produced or began to give you an applause. No, I didn't ask what got you the most likes or comments. I asked what produced fruit. Because in leadership, there's a difference between fruit and foliage. Leaves look good, they provide shade, they make the tree look big, but you can't eat the leaves. I look back at 2025 and I see things that I did that got a lot of attention. Man, the numbers look good. I had one of the best months I've ever had in my entire business. I stood on stages with people that are absolute rock stars, and it was amazing. But when I look closer, sometimes there was no real deep impact. There was just noise. And then I look at other things, maybe and sometimes smaller things. A specific coaching call where breakthrough happened. A quiet decision to actually fix something on my back end that we should. It would make our life easier, but we don't want to. Nobody claps for those things. But that is where the life was. As a leader, you have to be accurate. You have to separate your ego from your effectiveness. And if it fed your ego but starved your mission, cut it. If it fed the mission but starved your ego, it's time to double down on it. We have to identify the fruit. We get to keep it and we get to refine it. So that brings us to question number 2. What drained you? Now be honest. Be honest with yourself. What commitments did you make in 2025 out of pressure? Who or what did you say yes to just because you were afraid to say no? I had a project last year on paper. It made complete sense. It made money. It looked professional. It was great. But every time I saw that meeting on my calendar, man, my stomach turned. I dreaded it. I didn't want to do it. It was renting my peace, and all because I wouldn't cut it out. It was stealing not just my energy, but energy I could have used or other people's energy that I could have been spending time with. It took the energy from the things that actually mattered. You have to understand the tax of toleration. Whatever you tolerate, you empower. And if you tolerated a bad client in 2025, they're coming with you into 2026. If you tolerated a broken system, it's coming with you in 2026. You tolerated mediocrity in your team. It is packing its bags right now to continue joining you in January of 2026. Letting go of these things is not a loss, it is accuracy. Pruning hurts, but it's one of the only ways to get more fruit, and we want fruit. All right, that brings us to number 3, and this is kind of the hardest one. It's going to be the hardest one. Question 3, what did the year reveal about you? This is where we stop blaming the economy. We stop blaming the algorithm. We stop blaming our team, and we look in the mirror. Where did you delay making the decisions that you knew you needed to make? Where did fear disguise itself as wisdom? We sometimes use spiritual languages like wisdom to hide our fear. We say, I'm waiting on the Lord. But sometimes we call fear waiting when in reality, a decision was required and we just didn't want to make it. I had to look at myself in 2025 and I had to admit, guys, there were some moments I didn't speak up because I was worried about the backlash. There were moments I didn't want to launch the offer because I was worried that it wouldn't sell. That wasn't the market's fault. That was my fault. That was a revelation of my own leadership. This isn't about self-criticism. I'm not asking you to go beat yourself up in the mirror. I'm asking you to perform a real, authentic audit on yourself. This is called stewardship. If you don't acknowledge the fear, you will rename it strategy. And that is dangerous. Look, most leaders carry all this unconsciously into the new year. They carry their ego projects, they carry their draining, dead-end commitments, and they carry their hidden fears. And then they wonder why momentum feels so hard. Why am I working so hard and moving so slow? It feels hard because you're dragging dead weight with you. You're trying to run a marathon while wearing a heavy backpack. And 2026 is not asking you to do more, it is asking you to decide clear. Influence is all about focus. It's about the power of a no. And when you finally cut that draining project, you get your brain back. When you finally admit that you were scared, that's when you get your courage back. And then you finally stop chasing the foliage of the leaves, and you can see and find and get your fruit back. So here's the challenge that I want you to have today. Don't just turn the page. Don't just buy a new planner and hope for the best. No. Sit down. Get quiet. Finish the chapter. Write the list. Release the drains. and acknowledge the fear so you can finally defeat it. Resolve the weight that's been holding you back and down, because the world doesn't need another busy leader. The world needs a light leader. Twofold. A light as in what you carry, and a light as in what you carry and release. The world needs a focused leader, a leader who knows who they are. And so for today, school is dismissed, but your influence never takes a day off. So my friends, stay bold, stay focused, and go and leave your legacy.